What's up, guys? Working today on a Kia engine for a 2014 Kia Sorento. It's a 2.4 GDI. GDI stands that you have a high pressure fuel pump on top. This engine has a hole in the block on the bottom. I'll put a picture up there. It is locked, so I had to pull the engine and the transmission together out of the car. Right now, already took the exhaust manifold out. It's already out. Did take all the hoses and linings right here for the cooling system for the engine. Working on separating the engine and the transmission right now. It's gonna create a huge mess because I did drain the transmission fluid, but as you know, you don't get all of it out. And what I'm doing right now is I'm separating the engine and the transmission, so everything is held by the torque converter is gonna be going out too. So stay tuned and let's have some fun. Let's go. So for the belt housing, we're gonna have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. We're gonna have 9 bolts. All 9 of them are 14. Did go ahead and use my ratchet with the socket, loosen them up, and I'm gonna go ahead and hit them with the electric ratchet. As for the bolts for the starter, you're gonna use a wrench because you have the lines for the transmission cooler in the way, so a wrench would work good in there. Let's go ahead and do it. As I said, I went ahead and loosened all of them before, so we'll go ahead and start pulling them out one by one. As you're pulling the bottoms, be aware you're gonna have some kind of a washer on there, so make sure you don't lose that. And pro tip, so you don't get lost, they're gonna be different size of screws for the belt housing. As you see, this one I pulled from the side and this one I pulled from the bottom, so the bottom are always gonna be shorter, and you only got 2 on the bottom, one on this side and one on the other side. These 2 I pulled from just underneath the solder right here. And let's go ahead and get our 14 wrench and start taking the starter bolts out so we can get that out of the way, and then we'll go on to the next side. So right here I got my wrench set. We'll go ahead and break them loose. Start taking them out one by one. It is kind of annoying that you have to wrench this all the way. And yeah, I do not have the ratcheting wrench, so that's gonna take a while. I'm gonna go ahead and skip that for y'all and see you back when I'm done with all of them. So we did get the starter out, and as you can see, I got 1 bolt out of the solder, and that is because right here I don't know if you can tell. This is the other solder bolt on top. If you try to take it out, it won't, because of the hoses running for the transmission right here. These hoses, coolant hoses for the transmission right here, to make the go to the oil cooler to cool off the transmission fluid. We are gonna have to remove those, so it's gonna be 1, 2, and I believe there was a third one somewhere right here. No, I guess it's just 1, 2, and then we can lift this up. It's gonna be easier to take this bolt out, and then we're gonna be able to take the top 2 bolts, which are right here, because if you don't lift these up, we will not be able to take those 2 off. So I'm gonna go ahead and take these off, lift this one up, and I'll see you in a sec. Guys, we did go ahead and move these lines, as you see right here. It was only that screw and that screw that I told you about. It was sitting somewhere like that. So you just take those screws off, put it to the side, take the starter bolt out, the 2 top bolts. Starter bolts are gonna be the longest ones you're gonna have, and then all the other ones are just gonna be almost the same. The top 2 bolts are gonna be fairly shorter than the 2 bolts that go under the starter, and then you have the bottom bolt with the washer. Just so you don't forget whenever you're reassembling the engine. We're gonna go ahead and move to the other side, take the other 2 screws. I'm gonna take y'all with me right here on the other side. As I said, I already went ahead and loosened the bolts with my ratchet, and I'm gonna go ahead and just hit them with the electric ratchet real quick. On this side, we're just gonna have 1 bolt right here and another bolt on the bottom down there, and we should be able to take the trans out. All right, you guys, I went ahead and took those 2 bolts off. Have them right here. As you can see, the transmission is fairly loose right now. The only thing is holding it is that torque converter. So I'm gonna go ahead and try to pry it off and separate the transmission and the engine. Put the transmission to the side, and go ahead and put the engine on the stand and start taking it apart. I'm gonna get y'all along with me, and I'm gonna go ahead and grab my car bar and start prying it off. Get my big pry bar right here, and then just put it right here and pry it off like that. Make a small opening. The other side where the starter goes, same thing. Pry it off nicely and easily. Try to take it out. No. Look at that. We have the transmission out. Engine and transmission are separated, and we did not leak any fluids. That's interesting. We didn't leak any fluids. Sorry for the background noise. We just put another engine in the car and starting it. We lost the exhaust gasket. That's why it sounds like a V8. So we have the transmission and the engine separated right here. As you can see, since this motor is locked, we could not get to the torque converter bolts where we take the torque converter with the transmission, so we had to separate them. I'm gonna go ahead and move this transmission out of the way, get this engine on the stand, or I might not, but I'm gonna go ahead and move this transmission out of the way, and see y'all in a second. Guys, we got the transmission out of the way. Next order of business, I'm gonna go ahead and take the alternator out and start ahead. Yeah, I'm gonna go ahead and take the alternator out, and then after that, I'm gonna go ahead and start pulling the coils, high pressure fuel pump, fuel way, valve cover gasket out, and that would be it. So for for our alternator, I believe it's it's a 14mm socket. You go ahead, and your alternator is held up by 2 screws, one on top, one on the bottom. So you go ahead and break them loose with the ratchet first, and you then go ahead and hit it with your electric ratchet, or you can just go ahead and do it all with an impact. It don't matter. I just prefer to loosen it first with a ratchet and then hit it with my electric ratchet. And that's bolt number 1. And that's bolt number 2. And if I'm not mistaken, this should come out like so. I might need to take this a little bit. You might need to try this one out somewhere or another, if I'm not mistaken. This is actually, guys, what I'm gonna go ahead and do is I'm gonna put these 2 bolts back in and make my life easier. So I'm gonna go ahead with 1 right here. And 2 on the bottom. And what I'm gonna go ahead and actually do is take this whole thing out with this one right here too. I'm gonna go ahead and take this whole one out. It would be easier, give me more clearance. And let me go ahead and do that. That is the 12. I'm at home right here, and I'm gonna go ahead and use my impact on right now. So yeah, this one is out. That's number 1. So it's gonna be 112 on top, and the rest are gonna be 14 as well. So I'm gonna go ahead and get my 14 and my extension, and so we're gonna have a bolt right here, and 2 on the bottom. And if my calculations are right, this whole piece should just come out with an alternator too. So I'm gonna go ahead and do that. Get my right here. Go ahead and do that. Alright. So that's 1. That's 2. That's 3. That's 4. And it's 2. And it's 2 short ones, 2 short ones on the bottom, 2 long ones on top, and the 12mm that was right here. And I should be able to pry this one off if I'm not mistaken. Okay, so we have a bit of a problem right here. For us to take this one off, we are eventually need to take the alternator off. I can't just take it off because it's like there's one more screw inside there. It is as well, but it's a very tight spot, almost impossible to reach. So I'm gonna go ahead and get back to the original plan of taking the alternator out, and then we can go ahead and get that out of the way. So Yeah. So we're gonna have to remove the alternator, and then we can take this whole piece out because of the head and screw in the back. I'm gonna go ahead and take the alternator out, and then I'll show you the place of the head and screw real quick. Hey guys, we got the alternator out. Yeah, I just tried to pry it off. Came right out. What I like to do for me to not lose any screws or get mixed up, I like to put the screws of the alternator in them, and then just put this in the car until we're done from the project and we're back reassembling. What I like to do also is have two boxes. This one, and then I have a small bucket right here. It's where I keep all my screws. It's basically I do it in two separate buckets. One is gonna be for like all the internals of the engine whenever we get this out and start digging in the camshafts and everything else, and this is for all the exteriors. So right here I have all the bolts and nuts from the exhaust manifold, and I'm gonna go ahead and add these ones we took earlier from this one, and then this one leaves us with one hidden screw, and that hidden screw is gonna be right in there. So we're gonna go ahead remove that and take this whole piece out, and that's gonna do it. Let's go ahead and do that right now. And yes, it is a 14 like all the other ones. And I'm go ahead and add this to the exterior screws, and I think this should be able to come out like so. Yep, this whole piece comes out. Makes it way easier to get to the timing cover, fuel rail. Eventually we're gonna have to take the dipstick out, and all these wirings will come out with the dipstick and the fuel rail too. We do have a sensor right here that we're gonna have to take, and I believe that is a point sensor if I'm not mistaken. We're gonna go ahead and see. But as for these and the alternator, I'm gonna go ahead and put them in the car so I don't lose them, and we're gonna start disassembling the top. First, I'm gonna see if I can go ahead and put it on a stand. If I can, I'm just gonna go ahead and start disassembling the top with it on the floor. See y'all in a sec. Alright guys, so quick rundown. We did pull the transmission out, we got it out. We got the alternator out and the piece right here that was holding the tensioner. So the only thing right here we have is the crank pulley and the hydraulic pump. As for now, I was thinking about taking this off and starting by up top, but since I can't put the engine on a stand, I got it on the engine hoist, lifted it up, and I'm gonna go ahead and taking the oil pan off to see if I can move the crank from the inside. Hopefully I can do that and get the torque converter to move. As you can see, there's one screw right there, so I can take the torque converter off, and I'll be able to move the crank, and then I can put the engine on the engine stand and start reassembling it. For right now, we're gonna go ahead and I'm gonna use this impact, and I'm gonna go ahead and take all the oil pan screws. They are at 10 millimeters, so I'm gonna go ahead and do that. I'm gonna put y'all back on the stand. All right, so as we said, we're gonna go ahead and do the oil pan. I don't have a cardboard here, just so I don't make a big mess. I already drained it from oil, but it's always gonna hold some oil. So I'm gonna go ahead and start taking the oil pan off. Tip, don't get under the engine hoist, never trust these things. If it drops on you, you could be severely injured or killed. So always try to stay away from it, and be in a position where you can just run out in case of an emergency. And I'm just gonna go ahead and start taking these bolts off. And as it looks to me that somebody else was inside this engine before, because there's silicone everywhere. So it looks like somebody was already inside this engine and didn't really work out. Good for them. So we're gonna see what we have here. Yeah, you can see just silicone everywhere on this oil pan. Make sure I don't lose any of these screws. Put them all together in one spot. And before I go ahead and get to all the other bolts, I'm gonna have to take this one off. I believe this one is 12. I'll go ahead and grab my 12, try it on real quick. Yep, it is a 12, so I'm gonna go ahead I'm gonna remove that piece before I continue. Go ahead and taking all the other 10s out. So go ahead and do that. That's one. That's two. That's three. And that's four. And it slides right out. That's it right there. All 4 screws of it. So it was held by 4 screws, and then we have a 12 point right here, other than the 10s. So I'm gonna go ahead and finish up with my 10s first, and then I'm gonna go ahead and go to those 12 points. So we had one right here. We had one left in the back, and that's it for the 10s. Right now I'm gonna go ahead and grab my 12 point sockets and see which one it is. It looks like a 13 to me, give or take 13 or 12. Let's go ahead and try 13 on there. These sockets, man. Sockets can be a pain in the ass sometimes. Okay, got it out. This is a 13, 12 point. I got this set from Harbor Freight, and it's too big. It's a 12 point. It's a 12 millimeter with a 12 point. Surprisingly. So I'm gonna go ahead and put that on the impact and get these 2 screws out. That's one. Ooh, really long screws. So I guess the screw runs all the way right here. And okay. So yeah, this car has 2 oil pans actually. This is the first oil pan where you do your oil change from, and you're gonna have your drain plug right here. And these other 2 screws run all the way to the other oil pan, which actually has the hole in it. And this one doesn't want to come out. It's like too much silicone is in there. Ooh. Okay. There it is. And right now I'm just gonna get a small pry bar, start prying it off, and see what comes out. Let's see. trying to make a place for it to go in. Actually, I'm gonna go ahead and get a flathead. It's gonna be a little bit easier. Just gotta find the right spot to go in and have a crack. I believe it's gonna be nice to go from right here. That is not working. Alright, I'm gonna go ahead take this oil pan off, figure out a spot where to put the screwdriver, and see y'all in a sec. Alright guys, so my sweet spot was just right here. I did go ahead and crack it open. As we said, it's gonna drip a little bit of oil. I still have some oil in here, so I just gotta have a cardboard under it. And what it looks like to me is this hole is actually the oil pan and not the block, which is good news, where I can just get a new oil pan and replace it, and we gotta figure out what caused this hole. So I'm gonna go ahead and bring you all along and so as you can see here, I have a hole that is not supposed to be there, and it is a clean hole, surprisingly. This is the oil pan out, and this is the second oil pan. As you see, this was held by the two 12-point screws that we had removed before that, and there's 1, 2, I believe, and that thing should come out. But before we do that, we're gonna have to disconnect the oil pump right here, and on the other side of the oil pump there's the chain that makes the oil pump work. But right now we're gonna try and remove the oil pump and see if we can spin the engine to see if we can take the torque converter out and put it on a stand. So stay tuned. Alright guys, so we did go ahead and take the oil pan out. For me to further inspect and go inside, I'm gonna have to take the oil pump out. For me to do that, I'm gonna need to disconnect it from the chain. So eventually I'm gonna have to pull the timing cover off. For me to do that, we gotta pull the valve cover off. So we're gonna lower the engine down. Go ahead, take the valve cover off, take the timing cover off, and while the engine is down and I'm taking the valve cover and the timing cover, I'm gonna go ahead and disconnect the dipstick, the fuel rail, and absolutely the high pressure fuel pump. So we're gonna start doing all of that. I did make a mistake earlier in the video. This is a water pump actually, and not a hydraulic pump, because these cars come with a electric steering wheel. So this is a water pump, it's not a hydraulic pump. Sorry about that. We're gonna go ahead and remove this as well, so we can be able to take the timing cover off, and also we're gonna go ahead and take the crank pulley out. So put you right there on the stand, and we'll get started. Welcome back guys. So we're gonna pick up right where we left. We did go ahead take the valve cover off last. Right now we're gonna go ahead and take the timing cover off. I did get around, take the crank pulley out. There's the bolt for it. If I'm not mistaken, yeah, it was a 22 size. For this timing cover, you're gonna need 3 sizes. You're gonna need a 12 milli, you're gonna need a 10 millimeter, and you're gonna need a 14. And I believe there's only 3 14 bolts, if I'm not mistaken. Only 3 14 bolts on this timing cover, a bunch of 10s, and a couple 12s here and there. So let's go ahead and start taking them off. I'm gonna start with the 14s first. That's one. That was loose. That's 2. 14s right here. And we'll go ahead and do the 12s. That's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. 6 12 millimeters. And we're going to go ahead and do the 10s. It's going to be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 10 millimeters. And oh, I missed 12s. So we had 6 12s. It's going to be 7 and 8. There's 8 12 millimeters. And just like that, this diamond cover is ready to get pulled out. Hold the head. Go ahead, get a flat head or pry bar and start prying it out little by little. Don't go too hard on it, but you're gonna touch pry it out from all that silicone, and just like that. It's opened up. Like that, we got the timing cover off, and now we can take the chain out for the oil pump. So we're gonna go ahead and do that. So for right now, go ahead and take the tensioner out, and I'm not really sure. Guides, yeah, we're gonna take the tensioner and timing guides out, and then we can be able to remove the chain, and then we're gonna lift the engine back up and take the oil pump out, so we can take the other oil pan out, so we can further inspect why the engine is locked. Go ahead. Get the tensioner and the guide out, and I'll see y'all in a second. Alright guys, so we went ahead, took the guides off, took the tensioner off. Quick tip, whenever you're taking the tensioner off, if you didn't go ahead and lock it before, put a small pin in there to hold it in position. Be aware that the actual piston of the tensioner is gonna jump out. As for right now, I have them all out, so I'm go ahead take the chain off the oil pump, and then go ahead and get all the other bolts still holding it. It is held down by 12 millimeter 12-point bolts, and it's held down by 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 bolts. So I'm gonna go ahead and remove those right now. And they are pretty long bolts. Sure, whenever you get in the bolts out, to get the washers too, make sure don't lose any of those, because if you lose them, it's gonna be a pain to find similar ones, and they're gonna be oily, so be able to get that in your eyes. And clearly the ones in the back are way shorter than the ones in the front. And now we're gonna go ahead and do the middle ones. Alright, middle ones really long too. It's getting everywhere. This is the last one. Okay. Be aware it's pretty heavy. It is not light. But as of that, we do have the oil pump out. I'm gonna go ahead and put that on the side. For right now, I'm just laid down right here on this cardboard so don't make a whole lot of mess. And we're gonna move on to the next step on removing this oil pan right here. You're gonna see what is going on. So this oil pan right here is held down by another 12 millimeters, 12 points. I'll go ahead and remove that. There's one. That wasn't as hard. There is the second one. Okay, I'm gonna have to do that by hand. It's held down by another two. So we'll go ahead and move those 3. And I'll get back to y'all in a second. Alright guys. So I did take these two and these two. These two go right here and right here. And then the other two go right here and right here. I was trying to pry it off, but I figured that it's not coming out. So there must be more screws. I went ahead and looked, and as you can see, there's 1, 2 hidden right there. And then inside there, you're gonna see 3, 4, 5, and there was 6, 7, somewhere right here in one of these holes. 7. So there is 7 more I have to take out, and after I do that, I'll put you all on. All right, guys, we did get the oil pan out, or the secondary piece for it. It does have a clean cut right there, so that's trash. And the pieces I broke, it don't really matter because that's trash. I'm gonna be replacing it. As you can see right here, we have the crank and the rods, and what made that hole is rod number phone. It is gone. Rod number phone is gone. It should look something like this. It doesn't. That piece is gone. It is actually stuck up there, and that's what making me not be able to move the crank. So I'm gonna go ahead and start taking the timing chain off, so I'd be able to pull the crank down. So we're gonna get the timing chain off, the rod caps off, and then the crank eventually. And after that, I'll see if I can put it on the stand and be easier to work on it. But for now, we know our problem. We need a rod. I gotta check on the pistons to see if they're good or not. But I know we need a rod, and we do need a secondary oil pan. I'm gonna start taking the timing chain off. I'm gonna put y'all back on the stand. You're gonna watch me do it, and we'll go along. All right, guys. I'm gonna go ahead and start pulling it out. If you're doing this job, you probably have a good tensioner, you probably don't, I'm not sure. My tensioner is bad, so I'm not going to go ahead and put a pin, but if your tensioner is good, I would recommend you go ahead and put a pin so when you take it out, it doesn't just go out and the spring comes out. But it's fine again, I'm just going to go ahead and pull it off. This one is scratched. Take it around there. Lights out. Lights out. Side. You're gonna see the cams jump. They should have not jumped. I should have put them in time, but since my engine is locked and I can't do anything about it, I cannot put them in time so they don't jump. So I had to do this. If your engine is also locked and you couldn't put it in time, make sure when you're taking it out, you don't have your fingers beside them or between the chain, because when it jumps, it might land on your finger and that one hurts. So make sure you don't have your fingers anywhere in there. Right now I have the chain off. I can take this one off too. I have both chains off, the guides and the tensioner. We'll go ahead and put the engine down, lay it on its side, and start taking the rod caps and the main, the caps for the crankshaft too, and eventually put it out. Put these on the side, clean my tools real quick, clean all the oil, put this one down, and I'll see y'all in a second. Alright guys, we have the engine down right now. For these, you can do them with impact. As I said, I just like to go ahead, break them loose with my ratchet and then hit them with an impact. I'm gonna go ahead and start with the caps for the crankshaft, and I'm gonna go ahead and get to the caps for the rods. There we go. Ball cap right now. Just a longer 14 millimeter, 12 point. 14 millimeter, 12 point. For the finger cap. And for the rods, you're going to have 10 millimeter, 12 point. So each you have 12 point size. And I'll see you on the second one. Alright guys, I did go ahead, take the bolts out for the rod caps. Here's one of the rod caps right here. Since we already have them, it's always a good time to go ahead and take a look at your bearings. You might see some linings right here on my bearing. Can't really tell with my glove on. You might see the lines right here, but if you touch it down here, it's pretty smooth. I touched the other side, it's pretty smooth. That tells me that I have no problem with this, that this one is okay. I'm gonna go ahead and check on all the others. Take the main bearings, caps too, check on those, check on the main bearings. And after that, I am good to pull the cranks out. I'm gonna do that right now on tape, but just a quick tip, whenever you have them, whenever you're doing this kind of job, always good time to check on your bearings, because you're already in, so might as well, if they need to be changed, you change them. This one belongs to number 3. And fun fact, a cap can go on another rod. Each cap goes on the same rod because they're cut in a different way. They break in a different way. So you can't put like number 2 on number 1 or number 3 or number 4. It goes back into the same rod. But I just like to number them, you know, just to be more organized. As for right here, number 2 does not want to come out. Okay. Here's number 1. Number 1 looks good too. I don't see anything wrong with it. That side looks so good. Just gonna get number 2 out. Number 2 looks good to me too. I don't see piece of metal. It's probably from the rod number 4. As for now, I'm gonna go ahead and start putting the caps for the crank, the main bearing caps. Go ahead right here. Get this out of the way. All right, guys. We got the main bearing caps off. My bearings are looking good in here and in there. The rod bearings on the actual rod, they look good too. My fan news is it's not just the old fan. I'm gonna need a whole block, because as you see right here, when the rod blew or messed up, it hit the block hard, it messed it up. There are some pieces, and then this piece is stuck up there in the block, so eventually this block is trash. I'm gonna have to trash it. So my next step right here is gonna be lift up. I'm gonna lift up the engine, take the head off. I'm gonna save the head because I'm sure the head is good. I'll go ahead and get a new block, a rod for sure, and transfer all those. That would be for another video, but right now I have the torque converter still on the crankshaft. I'm gonna go ahead and take these bolts out, take the torque converter out, put it on the transmission right there. But as for now, I think this is it. I'm just gonna take the head off. I'll post a small short video on how to take the head off, but as for this video, I believe that's it. See y'all in the next video when I'm putting this whole thing all together.